Get them side by side. Hello, everybody. And Facebook Live just went gone. But we'll get started on here until Facebook Live is back on. Thank you guys for joining us. It looks so far that we have Randy from Texas, Paulette from the Bahamas, Nancy, hi New Jersey girls, and Vivian Harris from Kentucky. Oh, Ada's on as well, so it looks like we are starting to have the whole Jersey crew here with us. Ali from the Philippines. Thank you guys for joining us. We're so excited to continue with the webinars. This one is Dream Big, Build Small. And I know Trista has done a series on this very subject in the past. Hey, Nicole from South Carolina. You're in the house. So I know that Trista started a series, I believe, in 2016, opening up for the 2017 symposium on Dream Big, Build Small. But I'm going to do a little bit different spin from my experience in Haiti and just what I learned from talking about vision. And hey guys on Facebook, sorry it kind of disconnected while we were connecting, but thank you guys for joining us. I'm glad to be live on both Webinar Jam and Facebook Live. It looks like Dylan and Marisha are on. Hi Dylan and Marisha. And for those that are coming to the symposium in June, we're excited to see all of you guys. It's going to be great to have everybody with us again. Hi Ezra, thank you for joining us on Facebook. But we're really excited to have everybody back with us and getting going on the next phase of the vision, whether it's the corporate vision or your personal visions inside the corporate vision. So we're really excited to hear the progress that's been happening and see you guys' beautiful faces again. But let's just get started. So Dream Big, Build Small. That's kind of a paradox when you think about it, because when you're told to dream big, you're told to just go for it, see the skies, go farther than you can, then you can see. The sky is not the limit, beyond the sky is the limit. And even as a young child, you're taught to go big or go home, basically. But here we're saying dream big and then build small. And that can kind of be like, what do you mean? But in order to accomplish the big dream, you have to build small. So my little subtitle is Start Where You Are and With What You Have. And I'm going to get going on what exactly that means as we continue. So dream big. What does it really mean to dream big? We're always challenging ourselves or everybody around us to look beyond what we see right in front of our eyes. We're always saying, go farther than your eyes can look and just dream as big as you can possibly dream. Just like the story of the little girl on the horizon. She's on the boat with her dad and she's pointing out everything that she can see because she's on her shoulders and she can just see the whole world basically from this boat. And she's pointing out the dolphins, the birds, the fish, how blue the water is. And then she sees something that she's never seen before. And she's so excited and she's saying, Daddy, Daddy, look, look, look. And he's like, yeah, I see everything you see. I see the dolphins. I see the birds. I see the fish. I see the other boats. I see how blue the water is. But she's like, no, I see something else. Daddy, look, look, look. I can see farther than my eyes can see. And Dr. Miles heard this from I believe the founder and president or previous president of World Vision. And basically he said, when he told us this story, he said that the little girl has described vision. She can see farther than her eyes can see. Well, when you're talking about vision, that is very true. You're supposed to look farther than your eyes can see. But sometimes that can be a little overwhelming. That can be like, whoa. When you finally see it, you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. You're supposed to feel that way. You're supposed to feel not in a sense of overwhelmed, like I'm never going to accomplish this, but in a sense of overwhelmed because it's supposed to be so big. Vision is bigger than the visionary themselves. As Dr. Miles used to say, vision should surpass the visionary. If it doesn't, it's not a successful vision. True vision is something that we strive to accomplish for humanity. If you've gone through the School of Influence and you've gone through Course 3, you should know by now that there's a difference between vision and ambition. Ambition is something that you want for yourself, and vision is something that you want for humanity. Now, when we're in Haiti, that's a huge thing, a huge paradox for them, and something that they struggle with, because they think vision and ambition are very much the same thing, and they're very much not. They see, well, when we ask them, what do you want for the future? What do you see for your vision? And they say, oh, I see, a better income. I see a bigger house. I see, wealth for me and my family. I see food and water and everything clean for me and my family. And we tell them to think a little bit deeper and challenge them to think beyond who they are and what they personally want. And we always tell them ambition is not a bad thing. It's okay to want, shelter, to want to be prosperous, but vision is completely different than that. Vision is something you seek, whereas ambition is kind of just part that comes along on the trip as accomplishing your vision. And vision is for humanity. What are you supposed to give back to society? What are you supposed to give back to humanity? And once you do that, everything that you see for your life, for your personal life, kind of comes alongside of that. It's a product of producing your vision and accomplishing your vision. But knowing and understanding that the fact that your vision, when it's a true vision, is supposed to be for humanity, it can be very overwhelming and can be scary at times. And I don't know who exactly said this, so I'm sorry who said this. I'm not directly quoting your name, but there was a quote out there that says, if your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. So your vision should scare you. When we say dream big, it should scare you. But it shouldn't scare you to the point where you're not accomplishing it. And that's what we're going to cover today. When many people have gone through the school of influence, or they've gone through the self-discovery process, they discover who they are, or they rediscover who they are, their true identity and where they're truly from. And then they discover their potential and all that they can do. And they discover their purpose and why they're here, and then document their vision. They look at their vision on paper and say, oh my gosh, I don't think I can accomplish this. I don't have everything that I need to accomplish it. They look at what they have and they compare it to what they actually need to accomplish their vision. They look at where they're at in life and then compare it to where they need to be when their vision is accomplished. And that's a very wrong thing to do. You shouldn't look at your resources and say, well, my resources, in order to accomplish my vision, I need all of these resources. I need these people in this place. I need this amount of finances. I need this office. I need that plane or that car or that boat or whatever it is according to your vision. And then you say, well, I don't have it, so I can't do it. Or they look at where they're at and they say, well, I don't have this degree. I don't know these people, and I live in this town where nobody really knows where it's at, and so, but I need to be over there for the accomplishment of my vision, so I just can't do it. That right there is called fear and self-doubt, because where you're at is part of the process of where you're going, and what you have is only part of the process of what you need to get to where you're going. Process is more important than the destination itself. And I'm going to stop right here and say, first things first. I'm going to say something that maybe many of us have never heard in our life or don't think is true because of the past that we've had. You are enough. You are enough. Now, I had to say it twice because I have to look at both cameras. So to the webinar people on Webinar Jam, you are enough. And to Facebook Live, you are enough. And I say this because God created you in his image. We're all created in his image. And then we're given unique potential and unique purpose to fulfill so that we bring the influence of the kingdom of God here on the earth. But because you are unique, you are the only you. There is no other you. Like Dr. Seuss said, you are you, and there is no other you. You are the best you that you can be. Nobody else can be you. So in order for you to accomplish your vision, you can't look at what other people are doing. You can't compare yourself to where everybody else is. Oh, they have that position that I'm going to need for my vision, or they have the resources that I need for my vision. You never know that person actually has those resources so that they can give it to you or be a part of your vision, whether by supporting with those finances or letting you use those finances. But if you're comparing yourself to that person or what they have and what you don't have, you're never going to step forward to accomplish why you're here. You are enough. God created you to accomplish why you're here, and he built everything inside of you to accomplish that. There is no way that you can use that as an excuse of saying, I don't have this, I can't do this, I'm not where I need to be. But you are, because you are enough. If he created you for that purpose and he gave you that vision, then he put inside of you everything that you need to accomplish that purpose and fulfill that vision and pass it on to the next generation to continue it. If he didn't create you for that, then he wouldn't give you everything that you need. So everything that you have is for a purpose. Everything that you can do is for a vision. And you are able to accomplish it. Just go step by step and through the process. And there was another quote that I'm not exactly sure who it was from, because when I was looking for great quotes and images to depict during this webinar, some things weren't with the names of the people that quoted them. But it says, you are unique, you are original, you are unparalleled, you are the only you. So you are an original, like Dr. Miles used to say. Hold the hand of the person next to you and now say, you are touching an original. Now, because I'm an original, you have to take me out to lunch today. Like, that was, most of the time he started everything with that statement, and it's because it's so true. Your vision is an original because it was given to an original to accomplish an original purpose. And you are the one created with that original purpose as the original being to fulfill an original vision that ultimately accomplishes God's big intent, God's big idea back here on earth. And we need you to do that. So you need to know that you are enough, and everything that you've been given to accomplish the reason why you're here and fulfill the vision that God gave you is inside of you. And if there's resources that are outside of you, they will be provided because God has created all the resources. He's the owner of all of them. And if you're in right standing, you have access to them. So there's no reason to say, I don't have this and I can't do this and I'm not where I need to be. You will eventually get there because it is a process, and you will eventually have the resources that you need because it is a process. Which leads me to building small. Don't allow what you have or don't have, where you are or where you are not, prohibit you from initiating and working towards accomplishing your vision. Look at what you do have. Look at where you are in life and start where you are and with what you have. It's like the story that Teresa shares in her book, and I believe also in the School of Influence, where she's talking about resources, and she's talking about the 2008 recession and how she looked at the hotel and said, okay, God, I have these resources, but we're about to go in this like down spiral in the economy. And what do? I have, show me what I'm not seeing with the resources that I currently have and how I can maneuver them or innovate them to accomplish what you've called me to do and manage the resources that you put me in stewardship of. Wow. So she looked at what she had, and the Holy Spirit guided her with what she had, and then she was able to keep moving forward with what she had right in front of her. So look at the resources that you have. We told the students in Haiti who are dreaming beyond what most people in Haiti even think about or even try to think about. And they say, they looked at us and said, Debbie, Brittany, Sheila, I just can't do this. One student said, I'm going to have to just stop my vision, build a business, work, so that I can gain the resources to even accomplish my vision. And for us to look at them and say, maybe look at what you have. What do you have right now? Because his vision was to create a social formation, basically reform the social society of Haiti, and he wanted to start with children. He wanted to have a social formation or a school type thing, like an after-school program, basically, for students to come and learn about who they are, why they're here, what they can do, where they're going in life, and basically learn the school of influence and the principles inside of it so that they can begin to recreate or redefine what Haiti's communities look like, because their minds would be reformed or renewed. And he thought he had to have all the resources in the world to do it. You know, I need all this money because I'm going to need to rent a space. I'm going to need to have all these books and resources for them. And I said, you know, have you ever heard of Mother Teresa? And he looked at me and said, of course, I've heard of Mother Teresa. And I said, well, there was a documentary that I watched on Mother Teresa. And when she left the school, she took all the resources that she had financially, bought food, gave it to the poor, and then still continued to work with no financial resources because she basically used her last paycheck to buy food and give it to the poor. And one day she was walking through the slum that she was in, and she saw a group of children that weren't in school. And she was a former teacher. So she said, how can I help? Where are the needs in this community? And the first need she saw was the fact that there was children who they called untouchables that weren't going to school because they were untouchables. So what she did was she sat on the ground and started drawing the alphabet on the ground in the dirt with a stick. And she taught them the alphabet. And as more time passed, more and more of those children that weren't allowed to be in schools were watching her and learning the alphabet and learning how to read in English. And I told him, do you have some dirt? Do you have a stick? Can you draw in the dirt and help these children just by drawing in the dirt? Now, that was just an example. He doesn't necessarily have to draw in the dirt like Mother Teresa, but he can start exactly where he's at with the resources that he has. Mother Teresa had a stick and dirt, and I think a couple pieces of bread that she split between the children that she had in her bag. But basically, she started with what she had, and that's where it grew from drawing in the dirt, the alphabet, to this enormous thing where she's got this, basically an infirmary for people who are dying of diseases. And she was able to help an entire nation because of what she did. And it just started with drawing the alphabet in the dirt. And he looked at me and he said, wow, maybe I don't have to start a business. And I said, yeah, maybe you don't, because is a business really part of the vision? Now, if a business is part of the vision, then that's okay. But we all have to reevaluate why we're doing something. What's the motive of starting a business? What's our motive of doing anything? Is our motive because we think we don't have the resources to do it? Or is our motive because, that's part of the vision? If it's because of resources, I challenge you to think and look at what you have. Do you have a stick and do you have dirt, like Mother Teresa? And can you start there? Because if you start there, you are truly building small. Now, we say dream big, build small, because in order to start something for your vision, you have to go all the way to the vision and then plan backwards. Now, we say that, Jesus or God knows he knows the beginning to end. He's A to Z, Alpha and Omega, and he knows the beginning and the end. He knows everything in between as well. But what he did was he planned the end, he established the end, exactly the original intent that he wanted, and he planned backwards and then started to go forward after he had the plan. And when I say plan backwards, that basically means like, here's the ultimate goal. Here is the big dream, the intent, the vision that I have. Now, what steps do I need to take to actually accomplish that? The first thing is, okay, this is my first plan. This is the plan here in place. Here's the big picture. What do I need to do to get to that big picture? Okay, what do I need to do to get to that step to get to that big picture? Okay, what do I need to do to get to that step, to get to that step, to get to the big picture? And you go all the way to where you're at with the resources that you have right now, and then you move forward step by step. Because if you try to go, okay, here's the big picture, and I just need to get there, and you don't even plan any steps, you're going to try to jump forward, and you're going to basically fall into this cavern of, what did I just do? I don't have all the resources that I need, and I'm trying to jump forward without going through the process. Now, again, the process is more important than the destination, because if you have a big cavern, let's just say you're on one side of the canyon, the vision's on the other side of the canyon, the steps are basically the bridge to get to the canyon. You have to go through that process and step on that bridge every single step to get to the other side. We use a boat analogy with the students in Haiti, where we say, okay, you're the boat, and there's an island. The vision is getting to the island. Now, if you're the boat and there's other people that are going along with you to your corporate vision, they're the corporate vision of getting to the island. The big picture is the island. You're going to go through certain things in life. You're going to have an obstacle. Maybe there's a big rock, like Titanic had a big Arctic rock, and it crashed. Well, we're not going to crash. There's a big rock in the middle. Some people may say, you know what? I don't have all the resources. I don't have what I need to have to get to where I need to be. And, you know, I'm a boat. I'm stuck on this boat, and there's a rock. I'm just not where I need to be. I need to be on the other side of the rock, and I just can't do it. I'm going to turn around. A true agent of change will look at the rock and say, it's just a rock. Let's see if we can go around the rock. Well, now that you've gone around the rock, there's a storm exactly where you are. Now, in a boat, storms are not really great, especially if they're sailboats. They're not really good. So you're like, it's kind of dangerous. There's a lot of rain. We might not make it. Let's just turn around. Well, if you're a true agent of change, you'll say, okay, maybe if we try to turn a little bit more, we can go around the storm. Or we'll just go right through the storm and learn a lot of things. Whatever the plan may be, but you try to get there step by step, and you don't allow the obstacles in life, to whether they're finances, or you don't feel like where you need to be, or you don't have people around you. Maybe you're a boat by yourself. You're just one person on a boat, and there's not a whole lot of people going along with you. You're going to be the first person to believe in your vision. If you don't even believe in your vision, nobody else is going to believe in your vision. And many times it takes you actually activating something and initiating something for people to say, wow, yes, they're doing something and I can believe in it and I can come alongside of it. So if you're afraid that there's no people around you, if you're discouraged because you don't have finances, you're not going to initiate anything, and there will never be people around you to assist you. Many people don't like just business plans. They need to see, you know, details and percentages of how it works. You know, with the EPIC program, a lot of people, when we, you know, said, okay, this is the program, they were like, has it worked? And we're like, we've never done it before. I don't know if it works. So we had to start with a pilot program so that we had measured results and said, okay, you know, in the pilot program, it was 10 weeks. This is the outcomes report. This is what the students said they've learned. This is the activities that they went through, the curriculum. This was their point of view before we started. This is their point of view after we started. And here's your measured results. And now people can say, wow, they're doing something. It works. Let's get on board. So you have to initiate something. You have to continue moving forward, even if it's just you for a while. Because if you don't believe it, nobody else will believe it. And you are enough. So believe that the process is more important than the destination. And we've talked about seasons in past webinars. We've talked about how things can, you know, be a struggle because you're being tested. But if you aren't tested, Jesus was tested. And he was, you know, tested, and he is the Son of God and the Son of Man. He is God right in the flesh on earth, and God still tested him. He needed to make sure that he was ready and qualified to do exactly what he was created to do. We know that you're created. You know that you have a vision. You know that you have everything inside of you to accomplish that vision, but you still need to be tested and qualified to say, yes, I'm dedicated. Yes, I'm committed. Yes, I'm abandoned to my vision. And yes, I have great character, and I have ethics and morals, and my values are mirroring the values of the kingdom of God, and who God is inside of me because I have his image and I mirror him. God needs to know that you know that and you're living that in order for you to move forward. So you're going to go through seasons of testing. You're going to go through seasons of preparation. You're going to go through seasons of pure seeking. which is another thing that we've shared with the Haiti students, because they look at us and say, you know, I don't have a job. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. And we had to share with them, take advantage of the fact that you don't have a job right now. You have resources, you have a workbook, you have audios from the School of Influence, you have access to YouTube, you have access to us if you have any questions. Take this time to be pure time to study and seek and gain all the information that you can gain, because when you have a job, now you have to plan time to actually do that, because you're going to be at your job, you know, 8+ hours out of the day, and then you're going to have to cook, and you're going to have to take care of what's going on at home. So you're going to have to start planning time to actually study and seek. So take advantage of the fact that you have time, that you don't even have to plan to study and seek, because you have time to just do it. And then in the next phase, or the next season, you're going to have time to prepare, but you're also going to be working. So now you have to work and schedule time to study and time to prepare and plan and time to work on initiating the plan. So look at the season, maximize the season where you're at, because it's a process, and the process progresses, and you're going to see more and more of your vision. You're going to see where the next phase is going to lie. You're going to see the tests and know that they're tests. And then you're going to see, okay, this is a preparation phase, so I'm going to take all my time that I have available preparing. Okay, this is the seeking phase. This is a studying phase. I'm going to take all the time that I can to study and seek and learn as much as I can and understand as much as I can, because the next phase is going to come and I'm going to need to know everything that I was taking the time to study. And then in that phase, you're going to be able to give everything that you studied and now that you understand to somebody else, because the next phase is them actually needing to pull it out from you. And if you haven't even studied, then how can they pull it out from you? They're going to be pulling something and say, wow, it's empty. So if we don't maximize our season, if we don't take the time to say, okay, why am I in this season? Why am I in this part of the process? And what is this part of the process going to assist me to do the next part of the process or the next season? Because this is dreaming big and building small. When you build a house, you start with the very smallest thing, just a drawing. It's just a plan. And then they have to literally just dig a big hole, build a foundation, and you have piles and piles of dirt. There is no, at least when my parents had their house built, it took forever. All we saw every time we went for it felt like forever. It was probably just a month. We just saw like pipes in the ground. And we were like, is there ever going to be a house? And then finally we saw foundation, and we saw walls that formed the rooms. And then we saw, drywall. I don't know why I want to say wallpaper, but drywall. And then we saw roofs, and then we saw trusses, and we basically started seeing a house being formed, and then eventually the house was there. But it took a process, and every single step in the process was extremely important for the foundation and the strength of the house to be a good house. Without a foundation, you don't have a strong house. Without pipes, you have no water in your house. Without walls, you can't have a roof. Without, wires for electricity, you have no light. Without a roof, you're going to be soaking wet every time it rains. So without windows, you're not going to have any sunlight. So every single process is extremely important for the success of the house to fulfill its purpose and, being a house. So every single step in the process of dreaming big and then going backwards with your plan to be able to go forward and accomplish your vision is extremely important. Every step is required for the next step, which is required for the next step, which is required for the next step, which eventually is required for the accomplishment and fulfillment of that vision. So if we look at where we're at and with the resources that we have, and we say, I just can't do it because I'm not where I need to be, or I don't have what I need to have, then we're never going to accomplish anything. And your vision is just going to sit there and eventually go with you, and you're going to contribute into the grave, which we really don't want, because then it's just going to be sitting in the grave for none of us to be able to benefit from. The next generation is going to have to start all over. We're going to have to wait 40 years for your vision to come back to us, because God says that, with the Israelites, he gave the example of having to wait a whole generation, which is 40 years, to be able to have the Israelites go back into the promised land, or go into the promised land. So I don't want to wait 40 years for your vision. I don't want you to wait 40 years for my vision. I don't want society or the next generation to have to start all over again because I was scared of not having resources. I know what I have now. I know what the resources I have now can do with where I am right now. And I try to understand the season that I'm in as much as I possibly can and allow the Holy Spirit to guide me where I don't understand, because there are things that we're not going to understand. And I look at where I'm at and I say, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where the vision is and where I'm supposed to be when that is there. But in order for me to get there, I've got to progress to that step and that step and that step and keep moving forward. But in order to do that, I have to move somewhere. I have to step forward. It's like a baby when they're trying to learn how to walk. They don't just start running. They start crawling, and then, well, actually they start rolling. Then they start crawling. And then, they stand up and hold on to the couch or the table, and they're a little wobbly, and then they sit back down because they're kind of frightened. But then they still try. They stand back up and they take one step and maybe fall down. But they took a step, so they're like, maybe I can do it. So then they take another step the next time they're standing until they're eventually walking really slow. And my little nephew, my youngest nephew, we used to call him, he looked like a little old drunk man as he was walking because he was really wobbly. But eventually he got it, and now he's running around playing, and he's turning 3 next month. But he started somewhere, and he kept moving forward until he eventually got it. It's the same thing with us. And this, God shows us the process of vision in everything, in nature, and the process of growing up as a child into an adult, and the process of, cooking. Every process, he shows us that there is a process to everything. You don't just have a meal, voila. You have to cook it. And I'm trying to learn how to do that. But you have to cook your meal in order to have a meal to eat. You have to, go to sleep in order to wake up refreshed. There's a process to everything. And if we believe that there's a process to everything except our vision, we're never going to accomplish our vision. And I have 2 more quotes that I wanted to discuss. And again, they didn't show me who wrote it. But it says to do something today that your future self will thank you for. So if you're looking at your vision and you say, this is my future self, what are you doing today that you can accomplish today or work towards accomplishing that your future self is going to say, thank you for doing that in the process, in the season that you were in at the time that you did it? Because they will thank you, because if you didn't do it, then that future self is never going to exist. So your future self will say, you know what? Thank you very much for accomplishing what you were supposed to accomplish, for using the resources that you were supposed to use, when you were going to use them, and for doing exactly what you were supposed to do in the season that you were in at that time. And the next one says, you only live once? ? False. You live every single day. You only die once. So a lot of people say, YOLO, you only live once, let's have this great life because, and be risky and haphazard because you only live once. But it's not true. Every day that you wake up and you're breathing, you're living. But you only die once. And because you only die once, you have all the time that you live, which is every single day that you're alive, to accomplish why you're alive before you die just that one time. You're not going to die, come back to life, and have another opportunity. There are some people that do die on the hospital table and they're brought back to life. But more than likely, when we die, we die. And if you're not living every single day to accomplish why you're here, and then you die, you only die once, everything that you were supposed to accomplish is now gone with you. There was a story that Dr. Miles shared in one of his books about how he had finished teaching in London, and he was walking through the streets with his tour guide, somebody that I guess was with him at the conference center that he was speaking at, and they were taking him through the streets of London, just showing him different things. And he stopped because he saw a cemetery, and the person that was showing him around saw an acquaintance, so he went and go talk to him so that Dr. Miles could continue looking around, and he walked through the cemetery, and he noticed this small tombstone that was for a 4-year-old. And he asked God, wow, that's so sad. How, what was this 4-year-old supposed to do in life? Did he accomplish his purpose? Did he fulfill his vision? Did he give all that, his potential that was inside of him? Did he give everything? Did he serve? Did he live for why he was here? And then he started looking around, and he realized that every single tombstone said, rest in peace. Rest in peace, so-and-so, or so-and-so, rest in peace. And he was like, I wondered if everybody that was buried in this cemetery could actually rest in peace. Can they, did they fulfill everything they could? Can you rest in peace if you fulfilled everything that you were supposed to fulfill? If you gave everything that you were supposed to give? If you passed on your vision to the next generation as a legacy because you fulfilled your purpose inside of that corporate vision? If you can't, how can you rest in peace? And he also shared, that on a tombstone, you have the day you're born, a dash, and the day you die. And that's usually all that's on there, unless you say, beloved so-and-so, left behind so-and-so, great father, great mother. Sometimes people give a little scripture or a poem on their tombstone, but every single tombstone usually has a name, rest in peace, day you're born, day you died, and a dash between the two. And he said the most important part of those 3 elements, the day you died, the day you were born, the day you died, and the dash in between the two, is the dash in between the two. Because when you think about it, the dash in between the two represents your entire life. Yeah. That's your entire life. You were born, and it represents everything that you did from when you were born to the day you died. And if you didn't die empty, then what did you do with that dash in between the day you were born and the day you died? If we allow the obstacles in our life, or this, not even obstacles, the seasons and the tests that we go through and the tests that we have to pass, and everything that comes along with seasons and change and crisis in life, if we allow those to stop us, or we allow ourselves to stop ourselves, because a lot of that is actually our own mentality, then that dash is going to represent us always being challenged by ourself and our mentality and never accomplishing anything. In Haiti at the Leadership Summit, we tried to challenge the students to think beyond the fact that they're here and they're breathing, and think about why they're here, and think about what it means to be a true leader. Now, we gave them something brief because it was one day, but just something that they can go back home and think about, maybe I need to think a little bit more about why I'm here. Maybe I need to think a little bit more about what I can contribute to life and what Haiti needs from me, what the world needs from me. And then challenge them to seek out becoming who they were and who they are and developing who they are. But we asked them to look at themselves as if they were an agent of change. And we defined an agent of change for them and said, an agent of change is somebody that looks at the circumstances in life, looks at the crisis in life, and says, I'm going to continue forward because I know the destination. When you see your vision, you know the destination. And you know that God's not going to give you anything that you can't handle. You know that the seasons that you go through, if there are tests, it's just because you have to pass them and say, I'm coming out stronger because I passed it. And now I am showing myself and showing God that everything he put inside of me is inside of me for a reason. And I know that reason, and I'm moving forward. But you have to even think beyond that to say, I am enough. The seasons I go through are there for a reason. It's a process. And every step I take is going to be a step forward. We're going to fail at times because we're humans, and humans fail. We're not God. We're created in his image, but we are not him. But because we're created in his image, we can say, I failed, but I can still move forward. I need to learn from my mistake, pass the test the second time I go through it, and keep going. Look at the resources that you have. Because you're created in the image of God, you are a creative human being. You are a creative being that has the ability to take something, innovate it into something new, and continue going. Look at the resources that you have. Is it a stick? Is it dirt? A stick and dirt is good enough. because Mother Teresa changed an entire nation and impacted the entire world with a stick and dirt. At least she started off with a stick and dirt. So look at what you have. Look at where you are in life. What step can you take right now? Look at your big dream. Be scared by it, because then you know it's an actual dream and a vision that's going to affect humanity. But don't be scared enough where it prohibits you. Plan backwards and say, what step do I have to take to accomplish my vision? What step do I have to take to accomplish that step to accomplish my vision? And continue planning backwards until you reach where you are right now in life with the resources that you have right now in life, and then move forward. Never move backwards, because moving backwards just means you have to move forward 2 more steps. And if you fail and you do move backwards, don't be so discouraged that you don't keep going. Just say, okay, this is where I'm at because I failed. This is what I need to do to get back to where I was so that I can move forward. It is not the end of the world if you fail, because if you wake up and you're still breathing, you still have something to accomplish. You still have to fulfill that dash. Your vision is still waiting for you to accomplish it, and we're still waiting to benefit from it as the society that you're supposed to affect with it. And the generation after you is waiting for you to pass it on, but you have to do something and develop something in order to pass it to them so that they can take it the next step and the next level. So then they can pass it on to the generation after them, and it continues on and on and on. So I challenge you to not look at your vision as something that is so terrifying that it stops you, but something that is so terrifying that you have to do it. That you have to take every day and do something that moves you forward, and something that your future self is going to say, thank you so much for it. And yes, Nicole, sometimes you do need to fail to succeed, because you need to learn from that failure. And failure is only profitable when you learn from it. And I've had to learn that a lot, because there are times where we're doing something in the office that, or at least I'm doing something in the office that I've never done before. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I research what to do, but just because I research something doesn't mean I'm going to do it like that and be able to do it right the first time. And even some things that I know how to do, because the seasons change and progress, and the seasons are always moving and always changing. I have to know what I know in this season to know what I know in the next season. But sometimes what I know in the next season is not exactly what I had to know in the season before it. The season before it benefits me, but I have to alter my knowledge or grow in understanding to be able to succeed in the next season. So failure is only profitable and only successful if you learn from it. So never look at it as something that's going to stop you or that's preventing you. Learn from it, and then it's become something of a tool instead of a failure. It becomes a lesson instead of, a digression, basically. So challenge yourself every day to do something, even if it's reading a book or, learning something else, listening to a video, writing down another goal, or going a step forward in your business plan, or sharing some knowledge that you were supposed to share a long time ago that you were afraid to share with somebody else, but now they presented the opportunity again and you're sharing it. Whatever it may be, look at every single day as an opportunity to get closer to accomplishing your vision. And allow your future self to say thank you, and allow the future generations to say thank you to you, because you accomplished your vision instead of taking it with you and contributing to the cemetery. Now, if there aren't any questions, this is the end of the webinar, but I just felt like, I know Trista shared dream big, build small, but with with going to Haiti and seeing the obstacles that they're facing, and realizing that, sometimes I felt like I was facing them and didn't realize that I was facing them, or allowing them to enter my brain and my mentality, it made me take a second look at what am I doing? Am I dreaming big and building small? Am I allowing the process to be more important than the destination? Am I taking every opportunity every single day to accomplish something, even if it's something that I think is small? But every small thing contributes to a very large thing. So visions are only accomplished by small things contributing to a very big thing. And because I was going through it, I felt like maybe other people were thinking about it too. And I felt like it was very necessary to share that this process is a beautiful process, although it may be hard, but it's so beautiful because when we get there, we get to the big dream, and we're allowed the opportunity to pass that big dream on to the next generation. And we affect humanity and impact humanity exactly the way God intended us for, with our purpose that he created inside of us. And I could say one last thing, it is to remind you that you are enough, because God created you with everything inside to accomplish why you're here and fulfill the vision that he gave you. And we will see you, for those that registered at the symposium, we will see you at the symposium. And Debbie wants to share something really quick.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to let y'all know we did have 3 cancellations for the symposium, individuals that have circumstances that prevent them from coming. So if you failed to register in time, you still have an opportunity to, if you will email us at info@agentsforchange, intl.com, with your name and a contact number, we can call you and discuss it. You still have to meet the requirements to attend, which are all listed on the website. But we hope that everyone is prepared and ready to start working on their vision when you come to the symposium. We have a great symposium planned for y'all, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody.
Yes. And Ellie, yes. Can I attend via online? No. Normally we don't live stream the symposium. So last year I know we didn't live stream it. And I believe that's our plan, the same plan for this year, not live streaming the symposium. But the videos of the sessions should be available after the symposium. Yes. And if there aren't any other questions, we will see those who are joining us at the symposium. We will see you there, and everybody else will see you in 2 weeks. And also in a week, actually, next Tuesday night, we'll have the Kingdom Community Discipleship meeting on KCI's Facebook page. And we'll see you all at the top. Bye, guys.